what we're going to look at doing within this kind of episode is look at developing our knowledge on inserting in images into Inventor, then applying that image or understanding of how that could be used as a decal, and as well kind of using a combination of knowledge we've gained from using our 2D sketching tools. Now, as you should know by now, I've already opened my standard millimeter template. I've started a 2D sketch on my XY plane, and then just to insert the image, it is as simple as I've worked to insert, choosing the image option, finding where you've saved your image, and then opening it. Now, when you bring the image in, if you automatically click on this center point here, this will be acting as a snap node, which may prevent your image from moving, so it's a good time to maybe just click off of that rather than usually clicking on it. Now, the corners of the image, the most of them tend to do the exact same thing, which tends to be if you grab it and drag, it tends to rotate and scale the object. The top right corner, however, is different. That tends to be the one where you can grab and drag it from. Sometimes it lets you grab it and drag it in the middle, but it is very much dependent on Inventor. When picking your image that you've brought in, however, it is worth noting that, for instance, an image like this, where very much the colour is what defines the different parts of it, if this is what's interesting you, this won't work in Inventor. This one as well, where the colour actually defines certain parts of it, this won't work very well. You want something that's very quite simplistic and focus on the external shape to create this project. So once you've brought this image in, you're then going to just use a combination of your knowledge and the skills you've developed to begin zooming in by rolling the mouse wheel and beginning to trace this shape, ensuring there's no gaps and there's a continuing line. Now, if you find using the art tool really difficult, what you can do to get a really good looking model, zoom in quite a bit and then use lots of lines, grab and drag by holding the mouse button to create your shape as best you can. So this is one way of doing it. Grab and drag. And then your other methods, I said, is using maybe, for instance, because it's a curve here, I can use my 3-point art tool, find that green snap node and finding the start and end of that curve. So I'm going to roughly guess about here. And just tracing that as best you can, and again, always making sure you have that snap node. If it's yellow, that won't work. So once you've traced your image, as you can see I've done here, you may get these dots that appear. This is to show you the centre of your radius, the centre of your curve. When you've finished tracing your shape, you can then finish sketch, choose your extrude option. Now, if you have this error here, where it shows you it's not allowing to extrude, that could indicate somewhere in your drawing that there is a gap. Okay, so that's something we need to look at improving. So if I click my shapes, you can then see what's allowing me to extrude. Whereas this one down here, I must have a gap. Okay, so to easily fix that, rather than making a new sketch, we're going to right click and edit our original sketch. Let's go down to our object, and just to make my life easier, rather than having all these lines, I'm going to just redraw this to make my life a bit easier, make it a bit quicker. So I think my gap is actually right there. Green snap node, pull the curve in. Let's try it now. Finish sketch, extrude. Whereas now you can see I can select it. Again, must have a gap in here somewhere. Again, right click, edit sketch. Drag it down, let's find this gap. I'm going to assume, a quick sketch, I think that's it there. Finish sketch, choose extrude option, choose your parts you want to make 3D. Choose an isometric view, change it to a thickness you think looks better. Quite like that one there. Press OK, and there is your custom designed logo that you've then made in Inventor with a culmination of the skills you've learned using the sketch command. You've then developed some knowledge on how to insert an image, and then you can apply a colour to your final model. Well done. Now, moving forward for that, what we can actually do with our image as well, just to kind of finish this task off, is if I start a 2D sketch on my object, I can then insert my original image. And this is how we then are going to use our decal command. So let's overlay it. Now what you'll see is if you bring your image in, overlaying becomes quite tricky because you can't see your object. So what you can actually do to make your life a bit easier is you can use the project geometry tool and then just click on your object, and that will create this trace. That way then when you move your object across, it just makes your life that wee bit easier.